Guys, welcome to the channel. It's Sunny here, and we are back with another huge Glabs Patch. We're doing this live right now on Twitch at twitch.tv/bprimegaming. Go and follow and watch the breakdown. We normally do a full breakdown. We've just been covering this all the way through, and we're going to do a TLDR right now. Quick note about Global Lab stuff. The Global Lab comes out Fridays, and then how the way it normally works is the following Wednesday, it comes out in Korea, and the following week, it comes out in the rest of the world. So that's also going to be the case for most things you see here, and also with the class buffs. The class buffs have been delayed, so they've been going on for now 4 weeks, and they will come out in Korea on Wednesday. They already announced it a while back. November 8th, they'll be out in Korea, and then we're expecting to get them globally November 15th afterwards. So all the stuff here should be out hopefully in around 2 weeks. First off, shout out to Black Desert Foundry. It's the homepage we use always. A link in the description to the patch notes, so you can read them yourself, all the details and everything, if I forget something. So let's get into it. The full list here. War of the Roses, Dark Rift update, Gathering updates, HP potion changes, Quality of Life, Athena's Soul, Shy Weapon, huge change to this, but not huge enough. Ulukita, monster changes, map layout, blah blah blah. The big thing here, class changes. This is the last round of damage changes to PvE, and we'll cover what's happening after that as well. But this here is pretty big. So first, War of the Roses. This is not too important. It's just some changes for the participation stuff currently going on in Korea, which is like a test. The only thing that might be interesting going forward, if this persists, which I expect it to be, is the priority. So they're changing it as to if you queue up for War of the Roses in 1 week and you don't get selected to be in the third core, which is the randoms that basically get to join. If you don't get selected, you will get priority the following week. And if you get in, then you fall into the lower priority. So if all the people's priorities, it doesn't fill up, then other people get it. So you basically build fill stacks in joining War of the Roses. There's another thing, whereas if the leading guild fought 1 week, but they're not the leading guild the next week, so basically they queue up for the third core, they still count as having priority. So if a winning guild, the leader guild, ends up trying to join third core, it doesn't count them being as a leader as participating. So they still get to be in the priority group afterwards. That's the only like real big change. Other than that, it's pretty much just stuff for the preseason. Next up is a nice change here, the Dark Rift improvements. The Dark Rift spawn over time, and then nobody really does them anymore. So they're changing them to be half. They're removing half of them. The only bosses left are gonna be Ferret, Red Nose, Beck, Muskin, Dimitri, and Ahab Griffin. So half of them are gone, but they are buffing the drop on all the other ones. So they're adding mythical feathers. They are adding a chance of getting the big tier, the T3. Now you can apparently get this from all of them at a probability. And then they're giving you 2 boxes on the kills on all the other ones. So you get double the loot, basically, double boxes, double spirit, double chance of remnants, double chance of merchant ring and shimmering, double chance of artifacts, memory, dark spirit, and blackstones. So in other words, you do half the work for the same rewards. So this is absolutely great. It's going to be worth doing and everything. Definitely looking forward to this. Next up is some gathering improvements. They are increasing the everlasting herb proc. So currently you get like between 1 and 5 depending on mastery. They're going to increase that to 3 to 5, and then a 2k mastery that will be 15 to 25. So big increase in everlasting herbs. On top of that, they are increasing the rate of truffles. So truffles currently will give you a hard cap of 1 in the base, which goes up to then 5 if you have 2k mastery. They are making that 1 to 2, which means you will get up to 5 to 10. So it's basically a 50% increase in truffles on average when gathering truffles. So another good increase there. We love to see it. Next up is Starlight Veins, which is something that can proc when you're gathering ores. The TLDR here is, it's going to be an energy saver. It costs you 1 energy per light that spawns when you gather them for these items. They're reducing the chance to spawn down to 1/4, but they're also quadrupling the amount you get. So the TLDR is, you will get the same amount, but you will only use 1/4 of the energy over time. So it's basically an energy buff. That's about it. Part of Ascension is going to be easy to get for the weekly quests for the feathers. They are doubling the probability of getting it when you're out gathering. So that's kind of nice. Especially how the feathers are becoming more of a mandatory thing. It's pretty much the bottleneck. And with the previous announced nerf to the bus trains, it's going to be harder to get a lot of these feathers, which was pretty much the best way of getting them currently. So this is a much needed change. Okay. Previously, they talked about it in the dev note that they were going to remove the healing potion from Land of the Morning Light. They're doing it now, and it will be applied on November 15. Any of the potions you have, you will be refunded the silver for. So use them if you want to, but you can hang on to them and get your silver back if you've bought any. But they will be completely removed from the game. We got some amazing quality of life here. You can now search for contribution. They're adding the tag contribution in front of any item that you've rented or spent contribution acquiring, like your storage, your farms, but also rented items. So a lot of people have this weird item sitting somewhere, like a matchstock or a flute they rented while leveling up. They can't find it. Boom, here you go, just search contribution, and you can find out where that missing CP go. Another nice one here is they're adding the Mirror of Equilibrium to all blacksmiths in the game. It costs double compared to buying it in Durenkron, but yeah, now you don't have to ride all the way down there if you need to extract your Gammoth Heart. They're also doing so when you have a level 49 character. A lot of people use this for life skilling, so you cannot be flagged on, PvP'd on. A level 49, currently every time you acquire some sort of EXP, you get this message about needing to do the quest to get level 50. They're removing that so you don't have to constantly get spammed if you're just enjoying life skilling on a level 49 character. So that's nice, less spammy. And now a big one, this is a Giga W. They finally have the tech. We've been waiting for this for years. You can now finally remove recipes if you've done cooking or alchemy and you made a wrong recipe. Maybe the recipe has changed. There are some alchemy recipes where the required materials have actually changed. So I still have the old recipes with wrong materials, and I might accidentally use double mats by clicking the wrong one because I'm sleeping. So now you can remove all those recipes that might fail or wrong or whatever it is. Amazing. So happy. This is so big. Super, super happy about this one. I'm excited for that. And now next up is a very, very controversial change. If you want my opinions on this, I suggest checking the VOD. Today on this one, I have a lot to say about it. I'm not happy with how they've done it. I think it's half-assing. Anyway, I'm just gonna cover what it is. Definitely recommend checking the VOD for a full 1 hour rant about this here. So here it is. It's banded over Bullet Wound, as your bill says. I couldn't agree more. They are adding a new item. You can make a Reform Stone, and it costs you here, the materials are 1 Remnant of the Rift, 20 Forest Fury, 300 magical shards, and 10,000 Kaffir Stones. You make this item here, and you can use it on your souls, your pin souls, for the shies. And it will give the 35 monster AP that the shies are missing because of no Black Star Awakening weapon. Now, obviously, as PA even says here, we are fully aware of the inconveniences Shies adventurers have with Black Star weapons and Gammoth Hearts when transferring. They understand all of this. They understand that when Shy players were asking to get Black Star Awakening weapons, Black Star Souls, they weren't just asking for the monster AP. They were asking for a real regular weapon so you could tag it, so you didn't have to have multiple Gammoth Hearts on if you wanted to play on any other class other than the Shy. And then actually being able to have your Pin Awakening weapon. A lot of in-game players and Shies, they have a Pin Awakening weapon on another class, and they don't get any benefit of the Shy. So now they basically have to pay 30 billion silver to get that monster AP on their soul. And PA acknowledged that players would want that, but because of RP reasons, they are not looking to do it. It's like they know the problem, but refuse to solve it. So instead of actually just making it proper weapons so you can tag and use 1 Gammoth and all that, they are adding a new 30 billion silver item to get the monster AP. But still, all the fundamental issues of the soul not being sellable, not being buyable, not being taggable, they still persist. But here it is. Yeah. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. The monster AP is great, but all the issues are still there. So yeah, we're gonna move on for that one. So the Urukita monster changes, they are adding more trash, 1 to 2 to 1 to 3 from City of the Dead. Great, it needed more. It's so bad. It's so bad. It needed a lot more love here. Dark Seeker's Retreat. This is a spot that we don't have right now. This is the place. It's not in career. That drops the Aether Shoes, Fallen Guard Boots, and it also drops a legendary artifact. I have covered this in a previous patch notes, but if you missed it, it's a new legendary artifact that gives you 7 monster AP, the highest there is. No, the current one is 6. And then it also gives you 20 monster DR, 100 HP, and 75 stamina. It is insanely powerful. It has the best of all the artifacts, basically, except PvP, damage, and DR. Super BS item. And those two, like both the flame and the artifacts, is 10 billion silver in career, max price, and they're sold out. So one of the big issues is the drop rate. In career, with 100% drop rate, it was around 100 hours grinding to get 100 embers. And a lot of the Korean players did not get 2 artifacts in the 100 hours. The devs in the dev talk actually said that they balanced it around getting those 2 artifacts in the 100-hour grind. But again, averages doesn't really matter, right? Onto the individual. So a lot of people didn't get it. So they're solving the issue somewhat. And this is great. So what they're doing is 2 things. First, they are adding a new spawn thingy, a new event that can happen when you're out grinding. And this smoldering ember that spawns with some mob spawning and everything, it will guarantee you 1 ember for the boots. So it's going to increase the average embers per hour towards getting the flame to make your boot upgrade. The exact numbers we don't know yet, but it's going to be a big buff. So hopefully it's going to take it down a bit from 100 hours to maybe 80, 70, something like that. On top of that, they are adding pity pieces to the artifact. You're going to need 100 of these pity pieces. They are 100 million each. So 100 of those is the 10 billion silver, which the artifact is worth, plus 1,000 of the magic light stones. These you get from destroying light stones. They're relatively easy. It's around 500 million silver in value. So you'll actually be able to buy these potentially. You'll get more because it's just an addition to it. Overall, it's a huge buff for this place here for getting these items and working towards them. Now, because of this being a relatively big income buff as well, they are reducing the amount of ancient powder and black spirit weapons and armors you get from all the grind here by around half. So cutting all that in half, but again, it was a small percentage of the total value. This is a huge W. Great change. Now, some quality of life stuff. We love to see it. The map and layout improvements. They are removing out in the ocean a lot of these rocks here that is blocking the way of autopathing. So super nice, gonna be more convenient when you're out bartering or sailing. You can now autopath better. On top of that, they're making wagon and mount improvements. You see the dreaded bridge here. They are making it so the horses will turn faster when you're riding an auto. So you're not gonna run into bridges and fences and all that left and right. And they're doing the same with wagons. So huge W here. Next up, they're buffing the Period Forced Wagon, a lot more durability, which is great for overnight traveling. And now for the class changes, we'll spend most of the time here just covering what's gonna happen. And I will quickly run through some of the numbers on the class changes, but I highly recommend you checking them out in the link. There is gonna be a link to this in the description. Check it out. But I'll give like a TLDR on some of them. I'm not gonna break down the numbers too much. We spent many hours doing that on stream, so if you want to see that, then definitely check out the VOD as well. It's going to be in the description too. So here is the big information about all of these changes. The first round of adjustments has been completed. It's been ongoing for 3, technically 4 weeks if you count Awakened Warrior. And today was the last day they did it. So they just basically talk about like some of the changes they did and all that. Now, the most important factor is what's happening next. We are considering many factors that adventurers are concerned about. And this is what's going to happen next week. Such as impact on PvP, defense judgments, protections, skill specialization, that could be skill add-ons, changing those, adding them to new abilities. So please understand that this is a preliminary preparation for better grinding. They're doing more than just the raw numbers. Once balance adjustments is applied through the official server update in Korea on Wednesday, hunting, aka grinding, efficiency will be continuously checked, and upwards and downwards adjustments may be made depending on the situation. So they're gonna keep buffing and nerfing to try and land all classes around the current level of SOC Wusa. In addition, we plan to prepare the second adjustments immediately, reflecting the concerns mentioned above. So that would be the protections and stuff like that, which affects PvP. And taking into account the character's ease of operation, stability, AoE, attack power, and the reduction of hit rate and evasion, etc. So again, this is pretty big for PvP potential, but it's still focused on PvE. So they're doing the changes with PvE focus, and then they will have some impact on PvP. But wait, there's more. Since the second adjustment is one that affects PvP more than the first adjustment, the PvP balance adjustments will continue after the PvP balance is finalized. So these changes here, right? They are changes that is going to focus on PvE, but they will have an effect on PvP. So following all these PvE changes, they are going to take a new look at PvP and do some rebalancing for that. So in other words, this is going to take a while. I wouldn't be surprised that these adjustments, they might continue all the way towards the new year. But still, at least they are saying it, they're committing to it. We can expect changes. It's not just going to be some one and done. I'm excited to see what's happening. And hopefully we'll see some changes already next Friday. Of course, damage may be adjusted during the process as well, right? So they can keep buffing and nerfing, and there'll definitely be some classes that will need that. There may be some confusing among adventurers due to ongoing balance adjustments for the time being. But as adventurers understand and wait, we will prepare more quickly to make Black Desert more fun. Thank you. So there you go. That's the big gist of it. Now let's take a quick look at the classes in this one. This patch right here. Zerker is getting some buffs. That's right, Succession Zerker is getting buffs, and before you lose your mind, it needs it to be as good as SOC Wusa. It's getting some cooldown reductions, which are kind of huge. Ancient Wave, Devastation. The damage buffs are solid. It's nothing crazy, right? It's just short adjustments right now. I think it's going to be in a really good state. It already is, but this is definitely going to get it towards Wusa. I think it's like 10-15% damage increases on these abilities. This one here, Prime Fearsome Tyrant, huge damage, but it's a long cooldown. Awakening is getting solid buffs as well here. I think Awakening is going to be, again, really nice. Pretty solid adjustments. It's nothing crazy. This is not big numbers. They're already looking good. It's getting some slight upwards adjustments. It's not going to be broken in PvE at all. Honestly, some of like Awakening might even need a bit more. Now, this is one where I was scratching my head. In my mind, one of the weaker classes in PvE is SOC, Witch, and Wizard. And the damage buff here, from top to bottom, is only like 10-15%. Which is low for this stuff here. Other classes are getting literally 50% damage buff on multiple abilities. Pretty much everything here is 10-15%. And we looked at some numbers on Garmoth, and SOC Witch Wizard were actually doing really well, but it was low hours, so it could be people actually grinding on Awakening and then putting wrong numbers in. I'm surprised about the numbers being so low. My understanding of the class is that it's going to need a lot more than this. So this is definitely, for me, looking like one of the bigger losers in the buffs here. But again, more could be coming. Now, Awakening, of course, didn't get anything for Witch. Awakening Wizard got awesome buffs. Awakening Wizard is looking really good. Definitely should be in the same ballpark as Awakening Witch. Super good changes. Awakening Wizard was very good already, so this is great. Striker is getting, SOC Striker is getting around 20-25% damage buff on a wide array of abilities. So that might be enough to bring it into like a really good high DPS state. Awakening is getting around 10-15% damage buffs. It's already really strong Awakening Striker right now, so getting this is probably going to be enough to keep it up there where it needs to be. in the context of all these other classes getting giga buffs. Archer is definitely looking to be a huge winner in all of this. Massive damage buffs and damage buff on high DPS abilities. This right here, Righteous Smite, absolutely huge, but it's a long cooldown, right? But then you have over here Earth Shatter, a 12 hitter, short cooldown, 1600. Archer is looking so good right now. I'm definitely predicting Archer being right where it needs to be in PvE. So anyone out there, yep, this is definitely looking like it's one of the big winners. Shy is getting some slight damage increases. I think it was 10% damage, something like that, on these three abilities, which are not even used that much to my understanding. However, the 35 monster AP at in-game spots could be upwards of 15 to 20% more damage at the dickier spots. Now, personally, I expect to see some changes with Shy in terms of the party buffs. I was personally hoping for way bigger damage buff for Shy and some more other changes in expectation of nerfing the party buffs down a bit. So instead of being super OP in group content, it was just amazing, but then better for solo grinding. So I'm a bit surprised about the numbers here. I do expect to see some changes, especially since PA announced they're looking at evasion threats and accuracy buffs and things like that, which is really where Shy is amazing with the party buffs. So I do expect to see some changes next couple of weeks here. Yeah, this is not, yeah. I'm a bit disappointed for my fellow Shys out there. But again, the 35 monster AP is huge. But what makes me cautious about this is the changes we expect to be coming. Then it might be rough. So we'll see. Awakened Guardian, another big winner. Awakened Guardian is definitely looking solid here. And huge damage buff to a lot of the Guard Incinerator is going to absolutely just delete. This here is huge. Amazing damage buffs across the board. Yeah, Awakened Guardian is looking really, really solid with this stuff here. Now, Awakening Nova is another one that's going to be interesting. The damage changes, it's got a lot of HP recovery, but this is something it needed. Huge HP recovery. There's a bit of cooldown stuff as well. But the big thing about this is it looks like they're buffing the Star Breath region. They are nerfing the amount of hits, but they're buffing the region. So you should still be able to get your acceleration faster. They're also buffing the damage around 10%. Around 10% on the abilities in PvE. The TLDR from like covering this a bit, it seems to be that it's going to be a huge buff for your average grinder. It's going to be way easier keeping up your acceleration in PvE with these changes. But it's not going to be a giga buff to the really sweaty Novas, which are already setting records in PvE. But Awakening Nova is definitely looking like it's going to be really freaking strong. It already is setting records at many, many places for players that want to go like hard on it. And it's going to be so much easier keeping up the acceleration without having to break your fingers now. So raising the floor significantly, but not raising the ceiling too much. Next up is Succession Dracania. It's going to be getting around 10 to 20% damage buffs. I don't think this is enough. However, and this is important, the next coming of weeks, we might see more changes to structural things about classes. So there is a chance that they might make some adjustments still for Suck Dracania in terms of iron regeneration and things like that. It's definitely not looking like it's going to be enough. However, we do see, I think the first ever in BDO, a 3000% damage multiplier, which is crazy. But it's a 13% damage increase. It's probably the same around all of them. But is it enough to bring it up? Probably not. I'm hoping to see a bit more the coming weeks to make it easier to operate and easier to keep up the iron generation in PvE. And then we are in business. Then it's going to be good. Awakening is getting between 10 and 20% damage buffs. And that's about it. Definitely is not enough, in my opinion, to bring this class up to Wusa level in PvE. I'm a bit surprised. It does some stuff really well, but 10 to 20%, I don't think that's enough to bring it into the SG realm. Mega Awakening, again, is getting, I want to say, like 15-20% damage buffs. some HP recovery as well. But the biggest issue with this class here for PvE is not the damage, it's the AoE sizes, the protections and all that. And that might be addressed as well in the coming weeks. So hopefully this is going to be addressed later on. But the damage is, yeah, it's okay, but it didn't, that's not really the big issue with this class in PvE. Next up is some changes to the previous applied patches. Like nerfing Awakening Warrior. You love to see it, it didn't even make it to life. It's not a big nerf, but they basically removed the cancel from Merciless into Heaven's Cleave. You now have to actually use the Merciless ability before you can use Heaven's Cleave. Currently on Global with this change, you could insta-cancel it for the crit damage buff. That's removed, which is not any change for PvE. You don't want to cancel it in PvE because you need it to fill gaps. But in PvP, it's a pretty big nerf, but yeah, it is what it is. Next up is Ranger getting some changes. This right here is, it's hard to cover because, as you'll see, they are very vague. For example, you can go down here and look at the PvE damage of the skills Brimbolt, Jolt Bolt, blah, 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 has been increased. By how much? We don't know, they don't say so. So it's super vague, the stuff here. However, I'll just quickly mention some of the classes you might want to check out and get an idea about. They're changing Sock Ranger. They're reducing cooldown here on regeneration from 12 to 7. They're making some PvP damage adjustments. Tamer is getting some crit rate for PvE. HP recovery is getting buffed. Cooldown from 12 to 8 on Prime Surgeon Tide. HP recovery, all that, and some PvE damage buffs here. We don't know how much that is. Awakening is getting some AP buffs here, 10 to 16, and also PvE damage on Legendary Beast, Echo, and Celestial Sam has been increased. We don't know how much. PvE damage here on Succession Valkyrie, and also PvE damage on Awakening Valkyrie. Musa is getting some HP recovery on Succession, and Awakening is getting 20 DP with Below the Belt. Succession Ninja here, some damage buffs. This is huge, right? This is a big one for Sock Ninja. Cooldown reduction by 1 second on Moonlight, and from 12 to 10 seconds on Prime Beheading of the Dead. This is a giga ability in the Sock Ninja kit, and that's gonna be amazing for both PvP and PvE. And again, we see some more PvE damage increases. Sock Ninja, in my opinion, is looking to be a huge winner in all of this. And Awaken Ninja was looking super good as well. And Awakening also got more PvE damage increases on multiple abilities. Again, we don't know how much. We'll have to go on the server and check the actual numbers. Kuno, Awakening, Kuno. Alright, let's just jump straight to it. I know I can't wait. You can't wait. If Ninja is getting damage buffs, surely. So anyway, Sock Kuno is getting some AP buffs here. Also PvE damage increase on Sock Kuno for Shadow Explosion and Wheel of Wrath. Yeah, we're just gonna skip Awakening. We got some Sock Land changes here, damage increases as well on multiple abilities, and Awakening is also getting PvE damage abilities increase. DK, cooldown reduction on Spirit Legacy and Seed of Corruption, and also Flow Roots of Catastrophe. More health recovery, this is a huge 80 to 150, and also more PvE damage. And as we all know, Awakened Corsair was getting kind of OP, so they nerfed it. They nerfed the HP recovery on Close Quarter, and they completely removed the HP recovery on Allure's, Ocean's Allure and the BSR version of it. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Are you happy? Are you as excited for the next round as I am? Hopefully a lot of the shortcomings is going to be addressed. But as always, any questions, then leave a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one.